Some basic ForScore settings and menus. Tap in the middle of the screen to open up the bar at the top. On the upper left is the half note icon, which is your libraries, and that's the main place you'll go to find your scores. The second one there is bookmarks, and bookmarks are if you have for example, a file that contains a lot of different pieces, you can bookmark each piece so that you can get to them quickly. So it's basically like putting a marker at the beginning of each piece. And the next one is set lists, which you can create set lists for any different combination you want. And so, for example, I have a set list of all the J'ai pris Amours pieces and that I have in here. I have, I think, about 15 of them. And but a set list, you will, if you're in a set list, for example, let's say I'm going to go back to set lists here, and this was okay. Anne Timberlake. This was a group of files that I considered playing for Anne in a lesson. You can see in the right side these solid circles mean these are actually bookmarks. So this is a Telemann sonata. This is within a larger piece. It's bookmarked to this particular page. And so if I go back here, but these ones with the open circles are individual files. But if I go back to this one and tap on the right side to advance the page, when I get to the end of the file, it's going to take me right to the next file, because that's the way bookmarks, at least the way I've got it set up, so that it automatically advances from one file directly to the next. Because the advantage of a set list is this is what you're going to do in a set of playing. So the next one here is kind of interesting. This 1, 2, 3, fourth one over, you can set that to a number of different things. So I'm going to press my finger on it and just hold it there for a moment, and you can see I can set this to access Annotate or links or buttons or rearrange or all these different things. I've got it set to share right now because I use that a lot. That's what you use when you want to send a file to a friend. And so I've got that so that is easily accessible right there. The next area right here in the top is, as I've shown in another video, this is how you can access the metadata. But also on the left side of that is where you activate the half page turn. And so if that is blue, that means that you will be doing half page turns. And I'm going to a different file here to illustrate the half page turn. If I've got that activated with that little circle on the top, you can see it's blue. If I tap on the right side or activate my foot pedal, it brings up this half page turn. So right now, the top of the page is the first half of the next page. The bottom is the bottom half of the first page. These three little dashes here, if I grab onto that, I can move the point of division. So if it's an inconvenient spot, you can change that to anywhere else, and it will remember that spot. So for example, if I want to be there, now I tapped on the left side to go back to the first page. Now anytime I get down toward the lower end of the page, in fact anywhere after the third system, I can just tap that, and that takes me to the first three systems, the next page. And so then anytime when I get up to there, I can tap on the right side again, and that will finish that page. Now that will remember for that particular page that that's where I want to do that turn. So then on the next page, if I tap on that, it will go to the middle, and then I can move that again to where I want it. I can put it right there, for example, or if that's confusing because it's the beginning of the next piece, I could put it down there. So you can move that, and it will remember on that particular page where you wanted that. Okay, so that's the half page turn. The next thing over here is another programmable icon. So this is set for Annotate, which is a really good thing to have there because that's something you use a lot. The next one is that magnifying glass is a search function, and just tapping it, you can see you have recently played, and then you have all scores. But a really useful thing is on the upper left corner of this, there's this little odd circle with 3 little dashes in it. If you tap there, you get to a filter function and you can define different things you want to search for. So these are things that I have defined that I want to search for. So I can search for, say, example, bird by tapping on that. And I want to see all the 5-part birds, so I tap on that. And then on the upper right, click Done, and that will list all the 5-part bird pieces. So again, that was the that little icon. I'm going to click Done and Done. Go back to here. I'll do that again. So click on the magnifying glass, and then the little dashes in the upper left to create one of these. Right now, let's say I don't want this. I can click and drag to the right, to the left, to say delete. So I'll delete that from there, delete that from there. And if I want to define a new one, I can click that plus sign and define a new filter based on composer or genre or instruments or labels. So those are the different categories that you can define a filter on. I'm just going to click the X to finish that because I don't want to create any new ones. But that's how you define a search criterion. And then ForScore will remember the ones that you have created, and you have those available for the future. I'm going to click Cancel for now. And click on the right top Done. And so that's the search, and to the right of that is the metronome. There are several things in there. There's a metronome, there's a pitch pipe, and then there is a tuner. And you can set the tuner for different, right now it's at 440, you see on the lower right side, and you can see that it's, can't make up its mind what pitch I'm talking at. But the metronome is really useful. You can really there's a lot you can do with the metronome, which would be a category for a different tutorial. But basic use, you can put your finger in this black circle and drag, or you can click minus or plus, and you can set whether you want 4 beats, or I often just do 1 beat. Oops, 1 beat and done, so that it doesn't do a bump, boop, 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 but rather just constant, like that. So that's the metronome. And then to the right of that is the suitcase, which has all kinds of things in it. You can access Annotate from there. Some of these things I'll go into some other time, but some of them are kind of self-explanatory. But I've mentioned the Darkroom in a previous video. Services is how you access Dropbox and etc. And let's see, Bluetooth. If you're having trouble with your pedal connect, it's looking for Bluetooth devices and it's not finding anything right now. So done. Groups is something that I don't use, or templates. You've got a piano keyboard if you want it. Tap done. And you can record if you want to hear what you sound like. You can do that. And cue is something that we will do. That's I can make it so that, for example, so my page turns will turn your pages, that kind of thing. But the other thing I wanted to talk about right now is settings down at the bottom there. And there are a few settings that you want to pay attention to. I'm just scanning down here. I use this sepia effect. It just makes it a little bit darker, which is a little bit easier on the eyes. Let's see, what else do I do on here? You can just take a look, compare what you've got with what I've got, and see if anything makes sense to you. But down at the bottom here, let's see, there's Apple Pencil, and in Apple Pencil, I like to have it automatically enter annotation mode, because that way, if assuming you have an Apple Pencil, if you just start drawing with it, it will automatically start drawing instead of you having to actually activate the annotation function. And I like to have it automatically exit the annotation mode in a long period of time rather than short. That way, if I'm trying to think of what else I want to write, it doesn't exit annotation immediately. And prevent finger drawing means that that you can use your fingers to navigate, and it will not automatically write with your fingers. The tilt and pressure, I have not really noticed that they make much difference. So I don't know about those things, but I have them on anyway. So that's annotation, and I will go into more detail about annotation at some future time. And let's see, what else do I have here? Down near the bottom, you want auto lock turned on. That way the iPad will not go to sleep after a little while. Actually, I find that sometimes it will anyway if you spend a really long time on a particular page, but you want auto lock turned on so that it is not inclined to go to sleep after a few minutes. That's about it. So those are the settings that you want to use, and those are the basic menu items.